Hello and welcome to Natna News Stream, bringing you the latest developments from Eritrea, Africa and around the world, keeping you informed and connected to the truth. These are today's headlines. Uganda starts clinical trial to combat Sudan strain of Ebola. Rwandan-backed M23 rebels declare ceasefire in DRC. CADC and EAC summit to address Eastern Democratic Republic of Congo crisis in Tanzania. Nigeria and Uganda strengthen trade relations. Another key RSF commander killed in Al Jazeera fighting. China hits back as Trump's tariffs go into effect. 5 people shot at education center in Sweden. And North Korean troops reportedly pulled back from Russia-Ukraine front line. News in brief. Uganda has launched a clinical trial for a vaccine targeting the Sudan strain of the Ebola virus following an outbreak that claimed the life of a nurse in the capital, Kampala. This is according to AfricanNews.com. The trial, initiated within 4 days of the outbreak declaration, focuses on healthcare workers and others exposed to the virus. 2 additional cases were confirmed yesterday among relatives of the first victim, highlighting the urgency of the vaccine trial. Uganda has previously faced 6 outbreaks of this strain, which currently has no approved vaccine, unlike other Ebola species. The World Health Organization acknowledged the rapid response, stating that a system for candidate vaccines was established during Uganda's 2022 outbreak, facilitating swift action. The deadliest Ebola epidemic, which occurred between 2013 and 2016, claimed over 11,300 lives in West Africa alone. Health officials are hopeful that this new trial will lead to a breakthrough in combating the Sudan strain of Ebola. The Rwanda-backed M23 rebels coalition in the Democratic Republic of the Congo today has announced a unilateral ceasefire for humanitarian reasons. The ceasefire declaration comes after the group, supported by Rwandan troops, captured Goma, the main city in eastern DRC. The United Nations estimates that 900 people have been killed so far and hundreds of thousands have been displaced due to the ongoing conflict. The rebels stated that their decision was in response to the humanitarian crisis caused by the Congolese government. Despite the ceasefire declaration, the DRC government has yet to respond, and it remains unclear if the Congolese military will honor the pause in fighting. The rebel group previously declared their intent to advance towards Bukavu, but stated in their announcement that they will not target the provincial city. The situation remains tense as international organizations call for the establishment of humanitarian corridors for displaced civilians. Kenya, currently holding the East African Community (EAC) presidency, has announced a joint summit with the Southern African Development Community (SADC) scheduled for February 7 to 8 in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. The summit will be attended by Rwandan President Paul Kagame and Congolese President Felix Tshisekedi, among other leaders. Kenyan President William Ruto emphasized the urgency of the meeting following the recent M23 offensive on Goma and continued clashes in South Kivu. The summit aims to align the positions of both regional organizations, which have differing approaches to conflict resolutions in the DRC. While the EAC supports direct negotiations between the Congolese government and M23 rebels, President Tshisekedi has rejected this approach, favoring a military response. The summit seeks to find a diplomatic solution to prevent further escalation in the region. Nigeria and the Ugandan governments have strengthened trade relations following the appointment of the Ugandan Trade Representative Annie Bassi-Iyo to Nigeria, marking a step in implementing the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. According to a statement, the appointment preceded the signing of commitment export orders, paving the way for Uganda's first official shipment of goods to Nigeria. The event, held in December 2024, coincided with the commissioning of the Free Zones Export Facility at Entebbe International Airport and the launch of Uganda's AFCFTA implementation strategy. Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni, who witnessed the signing, described regional trade as a catalyst for economic transformation, stating, "I am pleased to kick off the journey for the first formal exports of Ugandan products to West Africa under AFCFTA," end quote. As Africa awakens to the economic potential, it becomes evident that domestic markets alone are not sufficient. Expanding trade across the continent is essential for sustainable growth, he added. The first shipment, expected in the first quarter of 2025, will include coffee, black and green tea, milk, fish, and pharmaceuticals. The pilot consignment aims to assess market demand in Nigeria and lay the groundwork for further trade expansion. A top commander of the Rapid Support Forces in Sudan's Al Jazeera state, Abdullah Hussein, was killed in an airstrike yesterday amid fierce clashes between his forces and the Sudanese armed forces in the city of Al-Kameli, north of the state. The RSF had appointed the slain general to lead their forces in Al Jazeera shortly after the defection of Abu Aghla Khalid, who joined the SAF. Hussein led his forces in battles against the army in Shibirak and al-Qura before withdrawing to Al-Kameli after the army regained control of the state capital, Wat Madani, and advanced rapidly across the state. Military sources told local media that Commander Abdullah Hussein was killed along with a number of his forces in a strikes carried out by the Sudanese Air Force during clashes with the RSF on the outskirts of Al-Kameli. Beijing has announced economic countermeasures against the United States following the imposition of 10% tariffs on Chinese imports by U.S. President Donald Trump. The Chinese Ministry of Finance has introduced a 15% tariff on certain coal and liquefied natural gas imports, along with a 10% tariff on crude oil, agricultural machineries, and large vehicles. These measures will take effect on February 10. Additionally, China has placed restrictions on the export of over 24 metal products, including tungsten and tellurium, critical for industrial and defense applications. Two U.S. companies, biotech firm Illumina and fashion retailer PVH Group, have also been added to China's unreliable entities list. In response, PVH expressed disappointment and vowed to cooperate with Chinese authorities to resolve the issue. A shooting at an education center in Kribro, Sweden, have left 5 people injured, with 1 in critical condition. The incident occurred today afternoon after Rebiskurak School, an adult education facility located 200 kilometers west of Stockholm. Emergency services quickly responded and all injured individuals were taken to the hospital, with 4 underwent surgery. Authorities have classified the case as an attempted murder, arson, and aggravated weapons offense. Local police confirmed that their suspect is a male but have not provided further details. Nearby schools were evacuated as investigations continued, with officials urging the public to stay away from the area. The attack has reignited concerns over gun violence in Sweden. Reports from South Korean intelligence indicate that the North Korean troops deployed to Russia's Kursk region have halted combat operations due to heavy casualties. Approximately 10,000 North Korean soldiers had been assisting Russian forces in Ukraine, but they have been absent from the front lines since mid-January. South Korea's National Intelligence Service suggested that significant losses may have led to their withdrawal. The withdrawal of North Korean units aligns with previous reports from Ukraine and U.S. intelligence sources, which warned that the war could escalate with North Korea's involvement. While the exact number of casualties remains unclear, the development raises questions about the extent of Pyongyang's commitment to Russia's military campaign in Ukraine. Well, that concludes today's edition of Not Now News Stream. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.